All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy. 2, 1. Welcome to episode 237 of the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill, admin on the KissFAQ message board. And today I'm joined by Marcus Almighty. Mark.
Greetings, sir.
69th Blizzard Ken.
Hey.
And St. Louis Kiss Lonnie.
What's up?
Good to see you guys. Thank you, as always, for participating in our show. Without you, I would not be doing this. I definitely wouldn't be doing this. So, I'm trying to think of what stuff has happened in the last week. People who've ordered some of those new awards have started receiving them. I did see Jason posted a photo of his correctly spelt surname on his Kiss Award, and it looks good. I'm not buying any of those. I'm buying Mark the Destroyer one, so I will buy one technically, but I will not have it in my home. And Mark's got that nice space up on the wall. He's all set to go. But they look good. The Destroyer one looks fantastic. Rock and Roll Over looks good. Hotter Than Hell looks good. The Kiss one was a bit meh to me. Just in the faces around the design when they're already kind of on the album cover. No big Kiss logo. So I was a little bit, unimpressed by that, but I'm glad to see that people are liking it. Jason also got his copy of Kiss World vinyl.
No.
So I can't remember which one I ordered, so I guess one may be a pairing. And if my doorbell goes in the middle of the show and I disappear, then hopefully that'll be that. Other news from this past week, a hoax. Eric Singer is absolutely fine. That was posted by a fake account. I fucking hate this stuff. And it just gets, the moment someone posts something like that, it gets shared and perpetuated all over the place. And I locked down the threads on the FAQ saying until we get some official confirmation from Kiss about what it was. And anyway, the account had some bullshit, girlfriend listed. So, always wait for Kiss Online wherever possible. There are some things that they're not going to let out early that do leak. That's just the way of it. But do your due diligence on facts, because that was actually pretty disgusting to suggest that there was something medically wrong with a member of the band. And, it's just not funny. So I don't know what the fuck's wrong with people who come up with that shit. Get your head checked, because you're an asshole, And I have nothing really further to say on that. I really do feel strongly against fake news and bullshit rumors. I was guilty of posting one as well. I got a link sent from someone about a possible gig at the Hollywood Bowl that, entered a contest on a radio station. This show was supposedly going to be on September the 16th. It may still get announced. I can't remember the details because they've locked down the webpage that it was on. And I can't remember whether it was going to be announced on the 22nd, which would make sense. So it could still be real, and they could have jumped the gun, or they maybe shot themselves in the foot now. But we'll wait and see. I probably should have held off posting that as well, because the day after the Oakland show is completely possible that they would head back to the LA area, and it's another legendary venue. But so we all have to be careful with our news is kind of the theme of that opening monologue. Let's get into today's topics, and we're just going this and that today, some topics from the board, some things that are on our mind. And Ken, why don't we just start off with one of yours? You pick one of yours, and let's go from there, because then I can have a sip of beer.
Yeah. One of the topics I was thinking about is
I have coffee.
is how old do you really feel at a Kiss concert? And I'm talking more recent concerts. Of course, I felt whatever it was when in '79 I felt 18 or whatever I was. But now, as I go to concerts now, and the one I did back in Sacramento earlier in the year here, I hear people talking about, I feel 12 years old when I go to see Kiss. I don't feel that. I for me, I feel my age. I just feel enjoyment of seeing a band that I've been passionate about for 40 plus years, 42 years, I guess now. So, and when I discovered Kiss, I was 16, 17. So I wasn't 12. I can't say, yeah, I don't feel like 12. When I was 12, I was, who knows what I was into at that time, but it wasn't Kiss. So I feel it doesn't take me back in that sense, seeing them. It just gives me enjoyment of enjoying the legacy of it, and the show, and the music is the most important thing. It's just hearing the music played live, and then seeing the bombastic show and the feeling of that. So I'm not taking back. I'm just trying to soak in as much as I can of these last couple of times that I'm going to be able to see them. So I don't know how you guys feel when you go to see them.
Well, Ken, let me ask you this: when you saw them, since you're the only one among us that saw the original lineup back in the day, like you saw them on the Dynasty Store in '79.
Right.
When you went to your first reunion tour in '96, did you feel like you were 20, like the age you were when you saw them in '79?
No,
okay.
I didn't. Yeah, so yeah, that's a good point there. So in '79, it was the first time I saw them, and I was just blown away on that one. It's like a big blur the first time out. But going '96 coming back, I didn't feel it. I was hoping I may feel that, but I didn't get that same feeling as when I saw them the first time, first go around with fair. The makeup. It just didn't feel as exciting to me, actually. The energy wasn't at the level of the earlier, the early show that I did see. So yeah, it didn't take me back so much as let's just say, yeah, makeup wise, yeah, okay, it's good to see them in makeup on stage again, but that was about it. There was no take me back. I was 18 again or whatever. No.
Well, for me though, I can approach it from a different angle though. For me, whenever I went and saw Kiss the last couple of times that I saw them, it wasn't that I went and felt like I was like 12 again, but I did get a little bit of a flashback, because a lot of the times when I go and see Kiss, a lot of my friends that I've seen or haven't seen for years sometimes, who I used to hang out with all the time when I was like, between the ages of, let's say, 20 and 28, when I was touring a lot with some of my bands that I was in and stuff like that, and other musicians that I know. A lot of these musicians I'll end up meeting at these shows, like when we go and see them here in Toronto, right? And it's very interesting that as soon as I see these people, I'm like, hey, what's going on, dude? And we start talking and this and that. Then I have to say that I definitely have one of these moments where I'm like, wow, now I feel like, I'm in my mid-20s again, hanging out with these guys who I haven't seen since that time. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the times these people are around at the same events, and sometimes we don't even see each other again until these similar events happen again. And it may not even be Kiss. It could be at a different band concert as well. But it just seems like the concert going experience in general is what sometimes flashes me back to a younger time. Because, back in those times, I was going to, easily 10 times more concerts. I remember there was one year I was going like almost every other weekend there was a concert I was going to. But, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of these people that I met through the, touring scene and playing concerts in Toronto, a lot of them, are the same people that I see at these concerts. So it's just the connection of seeing these people again that bring me back, not necessarily even Kiss or another band.
I just feel old.
Yeah, I know.
That has nothing to do with rushing down the stairs to get my package that Amazon just left out on the front. Yeah, thank you.
Get there before it gets swiped.
I didn't go to concerts until I was 14. And, I didn't see Kiss, obviously, until well after that. So going to a concert now, I don't feel anything other than the moment. And I guess I feel happy that I'm still here to see them, or that they've come somewhere that I can actually go and see them instead of having to follow it online, which is often the case, but I don't get taken back to anywhere. And, if you do, good for you, but, Lonnie, did you give your kind of outlook on this as well?
No, I don't know if I necessarily feel like I'm 12 or like I was 16, I guess, when I was 15 or 16 when I saw him for the first time. I don't know if when I saw him last month, if I felt 16 again. I'm like you guys. I felt happy to be there in the moment, and I was enjoying the moment, not taken back to another time I saw him. I appreciate every time I have seen him, but I'm appreciative to be there in the moment and to be there. I was there with my wife. It was the last time we were ever gonna see them together. We've seen them multiple times together. She went to Vegas with me. We got engaged on the freaking cruise, for Christ's sake. So it was nice to be there with her and enjoy them together with her one last time, because they're a big part of our story. Or I guess I've made them a big part of our story.
I bet she was clapping real hard at the end of that. It's done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Finally, I don't have to do this anymore. But I felt appreciative of the moment. I'm like you guys. I more lived in the moment. I didn't take a lot of pictures when I was there, and I've actually found that to be more enjoyable, because there was a time, I don't know, about 2007 or 2000, maybe 12 or 13 or so. I used to take a lot of pictures at concerts, and then for one concert, it was one Kiss concert. I forgot my camera. And I actually enjoyed the concert more without my camera and having to feel like, oh, she's going to breathe fire. I got to take the picture. To just watch it with my own eyes, as opposed to watching the key moments of the show through a screen on my camera or through my phone. I actually, that might take me back to being 16 years old again and watching a concert the way you used to watch a concert, with your fist in the air and not with your hand on your phone the whole time.
Yeah,
that might take me back to more of a 16-year-old concert going experience more than anything.
That's one of the things that's taken me back to that first David Lee Roth concert I went to, the Bic lighters, when they do Beth. And everyone's holding up their phones with the lights. That's like a Bic lighter moment. And holy shit, that does take me back to the 80s, when everyone used to do that. But yeah, I'm totally with you with the camera shit. Oh my God. The number of people I'm having to watch concerts through the person in front of me with their camera up. It seems every show I go to, there are people in front of me now who are actually more interested in doing selfies, using the band as a backdrop. And I'm, they're actually,
that drives me crazy.
They're facing the wrong fucking direction. Or it's like, what the hell
are you? Are you a 15-year-old girl? What are you doing? That drives me crazy.
No, it's usually some dick with a man bun. So
yeah, who? Exactly. What are you? 15-year-old girl
with a 15-year-old girl.
No.
Yeah, I don't think there's any going back. Mark also touched on something else that is kind of the key thing for me, and it's seeing people. And now it's so much more about community. It's like when I was in Sacramento, it's like, who do I see before the show, during the show, after the show, random people coming up, hey, I watch your show, like, awesome, stuff like that. That's what it's about. Or just sitting down next to a family in Vancouver, bringing their kid to their first show. All of that, it doesn't take me back anywhere. That takes me into the now. That it's an awesome thing at this stage of life to be bumping into people, to be seeing people that you maybe only see at shows, or meeting people for the first time. Alexander, who was doing the grand tour at the beginning of the tour, meeting him, and I've known him online for a while, and other folks as well, whose names, I'm not going to run through a whole list, but that's totally what it is. And, come next week when I head out to New York for Madison Square Garden, it's not going to take me back to 14 or 12 or anything. It's going to kind of fix a little blank point in my life for having been someone who grew up in New York State and never saw Kiss in New York. So might as well do the Garden damn sight
Right.
better than Broome County Veterans Memorial Arena, that's for certain. And then to meet a bunch of the New York folk, some of whom I haven't seen in a long time, some who I've probably never met, and then folks who are coming in. So, Mark, I think you hit the nail on the head about what it's about. And it's also about those who aren't there when you go to these shows, those who have kind of passed on or, left the ranks. So, still good emotions, but not juvenile ones. Well, yeah, it's totally juvenile ones. Once the music starts and the things start blowing up and you're like SpongeBob, big eyes,
Right.
fire. So that was something else that someone actually posted in a review, and I know I've mentioned it right at the right at the first review. Was someone actually said in their review, too much pyro. Can there be too much pyro? And now that you've seen them, Lonnie, Mark, I know you have to wait to see yours because you had other things for these dates that have just taken place, and Ken obviously saw them in Sacramento. What they kind of alluded to, and I think I mentioned as well, is that bright and shiny objects distract. Is there a case that Kiss is actually using too much pyro in order to distract from some of the underlying weaknesses that are inherent to the band at age 40, whatever? And Ken, you tutted, so you get to go first.
Tutted. I'm King Tut. To me, I would like more, even more pyro and blasts. I mean, just bring it on, I'm
shaking my head, Julian, not you.
Okay, I think it's great. I just think what they've done is what should be done in a Kiss show is all this. I mean, that's what they tout. They've been saying they do through all the years, but they haven't brought it in the last number of years like they are this year. So I just don't understand saying that they're using that to to distract the concert goer from their what are you going to distract from? I mean, the music's there, you hear it blaring. I mean, you see them on the stage, it's just all encompassing, it's just what it is. I mean, sure, yeah, Paul Stanley does not do his flying leaps anymore, but come on, he's almost 70 years old. Give him a break. And he's had hip surgeries and knee surgeries and who knows what else. Exactly.
Shoulder, rotator.
But he's probably done stuff with his foot too. I would guess.
You saw
too.
Dynasty, and I know I know from the videos that things are bigger in our minds than they perhaps were in reality. And I say perhaps were because obviously I never saw them in 77, 76, 79, or 78.
Right.
You saw Dynasty. Compare it in your mind. Was it as big as what you witnessed on the end of the road? Or is Kiss really going out with a, it's like Bilbo Baggins disappearing at his 11st party. In a bang and a flash and poof. They're basic. It's like Bremen '99. To me, it's like the ultimate Kiss concert that you always wanted. That you always wanted them overusing pyro. That they're overusing explosions. That they're using all sorts of different concussive effects as percussive complements. So, to my way of thinking, it is masking things. But it's also what you're supposed to want. It's about excess. This is, for fuck's sake, it's Kiss. Anything that can be overdone has been overdone, and they're finally overdoing the pyro, which is really nice. Whistler rockets, let's throw in another one. Oh, we need a couple more concussions here. Really get those asses out of seats. I mean, talk about melting the fat off my beer belly.
Right. I mean, if there is such a thing as an oxymoron, it's too much pyro at a Kiss concert. It's the biggest oxymoron in the world.
Well, yeah, but and when you talk about it that way, when you kind of referenced how this kind of came up with people saying that they were using it to distract people from whatever's happening on stage, I don't think the pyro ever was there for that, because I mean the pyro was there long before any of these event situations happen. So the pyro was back as far as like 74, 75 anyways, maybe in a smaller scale, obviously. But I think the only thing that's distracting, if you were to make a case for that, are just the screens up top, I think was the argument that people were saying, that they were making people look up and maybe away from Paul or somebody. But I don't think that the pyro distracts from anything. In fact, they could do easily much more of it, I'm sure people will say, right? Just like you guys said that, we can put on, 5 times more and people would be happy, right? So I don't think it has, any issue with that. I think that there's just enough pyro, or maybe even there could be more, Yeah,
when you asked about Dynasty comparison, Dynasty wasn't as big and elaborate as this new show. I mean, Dynasty was, it was a shiny silver-ish stage and with ramps on it, and then they were lifted on in lifts, at the beginning of the show, up from underneath the stage, but and the pyro was a lot less pyro. Maybe more so, during the beginning of the show, and then it tapers off until they don't do much of it at all until the end, where they then blow everything off. But still, it's nothing like this new Kiss show. You don't have the lasers either back then. Of course, the technology wasn't fully there, and it's just, and it didn't have the big blasts either. I don't think we got any big blasts like they had until maybe Creatures was the first where it started to do something like that. But still, this thing is just, they went all out. They outdid all their other shows as far as using lasers, fire, size, video, and the movement of things, of the little screens, or going out over the audience and all that kind of stuff, and those big cherry pickers that take them way the heck up. Yeah. I mean, it's what a Kiss show should be, like you said, Julian.
But what's funny though is that you kind of, how you mentioned that it's nowhere near as big as it is now. But it's funny how people's memories are, or what they think they remember, just like Julian said, because so many people reference the Inside of Alive 2, how they're saying that that's one of the greatest stages of all time. And probably if you were to compare that stage to this one, it's probably like 3 of those stages fit into what's on stage now. Probably not anywhere near as big as that. But yet, in people's minds, because you got to remember, timeline, back then, nobody ever probably saw a stage like that, right?
And
so
that.
Of course,
they're 12. It's the 12-year-old mind again. Alive to Gatefold never existed as a Kiss stage. That never happened. That is not reality.
They blew it all off at one time. Everything at one time to get that picture.
That is like Bremen 99 is the only situation that ever mirrored that actually happening in a Kiss concert. The same is the case for actually what they're doing now. I mean, it's overkill. It's everything in the kitchen sink. Again, I mentioned this in that very first Vancouver review that we did, that it's like OCD. There's, bright, shiny stuff. You're always moving. You're always looking at something. It's always changing. It's like the fast editing of the, Rock the Nation video. I mean, it's like that in reality. There is so much going on that I've said it, that I had to see several shows in order to focus on different areas and enjoy all aspects. And that when I was watching some of these videos that people were shooting from the shit seats, the nosebleeds, I was actually saying, wow, you're getting a way better actual feel for the whole show. Just like that bootleg of Rapid City 90, where it's just sitting and you have the whole Hot in the Shade stage, and you just watch the production. Paul's like this big, and Bruce is off camera half the time in the wings, but you just get to watch the stage, and that's the coolest thing about it to me. There's not too much pyro. There's a lot going on, and that's what makes it fun and entertaining for me. Now, obviously, mental types vary. That some people like to be able to kind of enjoy a macro thing, and maybe there is too much for some people, and that, that's fine.
Well,
I'm not going to criticize them for that. But it's Kiss, for fuck's sake. There is no too much pyro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if they want to see that other kind of show where less pyro, they're gonna have to see them in a club. I mean, that's about it. If you're gonna get nothing but the band playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, interesting perspective. I never thought I would actually read, that's like someone saying, well, you know what? Kiss played last night, but they really played too many songs.
I wonder if anybody would ever say that.
I said that at a Bruce Springsteen concert.
I believe that.
Isn't he fucking done yet? God.
Yeah.
But I have no taste whatsoever, obviously. All right, so let's see. Which one should we go to? Is the end of the road like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Yet another opportunity missed? No. I don't think it is. I don't think it was ever reasonable to think that Kiss would go out on the road and have anything different than it has always been. Would it have been nice? Yes. But those are the things that, as Kiss fans, we have a cross to bear, and it is hoping that things are going to be as they would be on TV. But that's not reality. You were never going to get Peter back in for a whole tour. He can't do it. He can do shows. He can do sections of shows. He's not doing a tour. I don't want to see him unhappy anyway. I don't think he'd be very happy with Gene and Paul. I think Ace as well is better out of the touring environment with the band. And the things that they've said, this is Gene and Paul again, the same old shit. There's these articles have been posted yet again with the same quotes about druggies and losers, and all of that shit is so old, so over for guys that, Peter's been clean for decades. Ace has been clean for a very long time. So I don't think it was a missed opportunity. I think people who thought that there was ever going to be a reunion were just, snorting the wrong colored powder.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that we're getting exactly what we should get, because, let's put it this way. There's less drama this way. They do the show every night consistently, and I think that's what they want to do. They want to go out on a high level, right? The performances are really good. Those guys are playing really well on stage. They don't have to sit there and sweat whether or not someone's going to forget a part or, botch something. It's a fantastic performance. I've yet to see anybody complain about the performance of the band during this tour. So that's got to speak volumes right there. So really, why would you bring them back? I mean, I understand that there's reasons that people want them back for, nostalgia's sake, but really, wouldn't you just be happy to have a fantastic show going on without any of that? I mean, maybe people just like, having those situations on the razor's edge where they don't know if something's going to go wrong or something. Maybe people can get off on those sort of things, but I'm looking forward to having a well-performed show and seeing Tommy do his thing. And, Eric Singer's a fantastic drummer, and I'm looking forward to, going to see them do their thing. So I'm more than satisfied with what's going on and looking forward to it.
I'm satisfied with what's going on, but I'm going to play devil's advocate. I would have loved to have seen the original lineup one more time.
There's still time. I still want to see them one more time. I'm not saying it's not possible.
I like Tommy. I think he does a great job. I like Eric Singer. He's a fantastic drummer. But I would rock and roll, whether it would have been at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, whether it been just anytime, anywhere, I would have liked to seen them as a foursome play one more time. And on top of that, I would have liked them to say goodbye properly one time, and not the way they did in October 7th of 2000 when Peter was pissed off and pushed his drums off the riser, and they just called it a day and went their four separate ways after that. Nothing against Peter. I know Peter was unhappy and wasn't being paid a fraction of what other people were, and I get it. He's a key member of the band, but I would have liked them to say a proper goodbye as a foursome, and I would have liked to have seen it one more time. I got to see the original lineup a few times, 4 times. I got to see the original lineup, but I would have liked to have seen them, one more time when they came back in 2003, and it was, and they opened up for Aerosmith, and then they came back in 2004 with Eric and Tommy for the first time moving forward. I had the attitude of, well, I'll take it because it's better than no Kiss, because they'd already done the farewell tour. I'll take this version of Kiss because it beats no Kiss, because I bought into the whole farewell tour like a lot of people did. But as time moved on, I thought, man, I like Eric, I like Tommy, but boy, I'd love to see the original lineup one more time. There is something special about it.
Yeah. Like they said, like Julian said, that doesn't mean that it can't still happen. It's very possible that maybe one of the very last things they do before they actually call it a day is do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. That after they're after they're completely done with their this tour, whether it's 2 years, whatever it is, arrange one last show, the very, very last one, put it on sale in a New York show, whether it's at Madison Square Garden again or somewhere else in the area,
or Yankee Stadium or something like that.
Yeah, Yankee Stadium. Put it on. Have everybody that can attend, has been part of KISS, attend, and just celebrate it, and then go out with a nice party. Big, just a big show and a big party. I mean, and that's it. And then, okay, that's it, guys. We're done.
Yeah, and that's the key. I think it's not a missed opportunity, the tour, because Ace and Peter aren't doing a tour. I think the final event needs to be the originals and everyone, but the originals only. Because why would Peter get up on stage with Eric wearing his makeup? Why would Ace get up on stage and come and jam Shock Me with Tommy wearing his makeup?
No, I don't fault those guys at all for that.
That would just be absolutely absurd. And let's flip the coin. Why would Tommy hang off stage out of makeup while Peter's in makeup for one? When I got that backwards. Ace, yeah. Why would they, be disrespected either, for one night? That I don't think would be right either. But I think when you get to the actual very end of the road, that's when you need to have Bruce, Eric, Tommy, Ace, Peter, and bring it all to. You're never going to recapture the moment that was the magic on MTV. That that whole kind of vibe. Do you remember the excitement in the KISS Army?
My God.
Around that time, knowing what was coming, what was probably going to happen, the suggestions, all of that. You can't go back to that. I mean, it's just so far past its sell-by date at this time. There's just too much mold on the end of the loaf. But it can still be done. It still can be done so that Peter, Chris is respected, so that Ace is respected, and so that the KISS Army is respected. But other than that, fuck it. Forget it.
End of the loaf tour.
End of the loaf. Sorry. Moldy loaf. All right. So let's go to one that Lonnie will hopefully enjoy. And that, by the way, that was another spam phone call. This latest one was, your social security number has been suspended.
Please send us $5,000.
It's all right. I'm an illegal. I can get another one. No biggie. No problem. All right. So, Lonnie, why no revenge songs, especially Unholy?
I thought you were doing mine.
Why is that not in the set list?
I have a big problem with that. You guys did that show where you talked about taking out a few songs and putting in a few songs. And you did that with either Daniel or with Alex. But now that Hydra Heart's been taken out, there is no representation of Bruce Kulick era of the band. There's Heaven's on Fire from '84, and there is nothing until Psycho Circus in '98. And I think that's a disgrace, honestly. I think, again, You're completely overlooking a very big part of your history, a part where Julian became a fan, a part where I became a fan. You're totally overlooking it. And similar to like 96, you're acting like it never happened. Yeah, okay, there is like that clip during Deuce where you see from the Hot in the Shade tour, you see Bruce for half a second in there. Okay, great. But you don't play anything from that era at all. And as much as Gene and Paul even like to say that, oh, I think Revenge is where we really got it right without makeup. After fumbling around in the 80s, Revenge is where we finally got it right. Okay, well, play something off the freaking record. Play something off of it. Play Unholy. I know people can complain about the way Tommy does the solo or whatever. I don't care. Play something, Julian, for example. Play something off Revenge. Play Unholy. Play God Gave Rock and Roll to You. If we're getting assistance with some of the more difficult vocals.
Oh, then he can do the solo properly.
Oh! Wow. Damn is home. So, play God Gave Rock and Roll or Unholy or play Domino even. I know you're not. I know it's a different audience that comes to these Kiss in 2019 than what saw Kiss in 92 on the Revenge tour. You're probably not going to play Take It Off and have strippers come out on stage. You're probably not going to do that. I get it. That's fine. But you could play Domino. You could play God Gave Rock and Roll. You could play Unholy. There's other things to choose from off that album.
Wait, get the strippers from 92 to come back out.
Oh, gosh.
For the little kids, right?
Have their kids come out.
God, it'd be like, so look.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it. It's fine. You don't want to play Take It Off. I'm not saying if you're going to play something off of Revenge, you have to play Take It Off. But there's a lot more to choose from that album. Stuff that was on Alive 3 that, that got a good response at the time. That, that people, the same amount of people are going to know other songs that they are playing. They're going to know Say Yeah, which, by the way, you can't even go out and buy right now anyway because it's out of print. So somebody hears Say Yeah at the show. Well, you can't go out and buy it. It's out of print. Where are you going to go buy it at? You can't.
iTunes only.
It's not even on iTunes, Mark. Maybe
really?
Maybe in the Great White North.
Well, yeah, not in the U.S. In the rest
of the U.S., you can't. It's out of print in the United States.
In the rest of the world.
So
interesting.
Why not play something off Revenge? I'm totally with you on that, Ken.
Yeah, do Domino.
You guys need to get me fired up.
Because that's really a black and blue song anyway, so then Tommy gets double respect. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that. I was just, why no Revenge? I mean, Paul always says that's one of their best albums, and so why are you not representing it? I mean,
or anything from Animalized through Psycho Circus.
They kind of said, well, I guess the non-makeup years. Well, I guess they weren't so great after all, maybe. And Gene wasn't there, yeah. And then what's the other thing? I guess Paul was running the show at that those years, supposedly,
Paul
right?
was running the show.
Paul was running the show. So why doesn't he want to represent?
Is the show?
Why doesn't he want to represent what his hard work that he did in the 80s?
The end of the road represents the road, and the road has a lot of mile markers along the way, and they're skipping a lot of mile markers.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, that was deep.
Too deep for this show.
I have a theory, whether it's correct or not, I don't know, but I'm guessing that they're skipping it because in their eyes, maybe. And now, keep in mind that your theory is right, Julian, that there's lots of different points throughout their career that they should be representing, and this is one of them. But I think in their eyes, those songs don't fit their set list. Think about it for a second. Say Yeah comes off of Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom was supposed to be them returning to their 70s roots and doing a record similar to that time period. Same with Monster. It was supposed to be, a throwback to a time period back then, which is why they would do Hell or Hallelujah, right? But Revenge, really, I mean, if you think about it, Unholy is probably one of the heaviest songs they've ever done. It's like pulling out,
What's War Machine? What's War Machine then?
Yeah, War Machine is it is as well, right?
Pretty damn heavy.
No,
And God of Thunder
War Machine
really-
has got to go.
Yeah, and I mean, but God of Thunder in its original form is not anywhere near as heavy as Unholy is. Not
But
even
the way
close.
they play it now, it's really heavy.
Yeah,
the way
of course,
they play it at
because
these shows is really heavy.
Okay, but they're also drop tuned a whole step, and you can do lots of things to make it heavier, right? But I'm just saying, overall, they were going for a much heavier sound during that time period, and maybe it's just one of those situations where, first of all, I know Gene's always had trouble singing that song, number one, Unholy. It's a difficult song for him to sing, so that could be a factor. But number two, I just think that it just doesn't fit their style of their set list. And I'm not saying that's right. I'd love to hear it. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to hear it. It's one of my favorite songs. But maybe they just don't feel it fits.
Well, I mean, yeah, they could replace War Machine with Unholy. I could see that.
They could, that was the point I was trying to make. I'm sorry.
You could keep the same graphics in the background.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is, I just forgot what I was going to say. Oh shoot!
Well, we're waiting.
Oh, you're still waiting?
Yeah, we're waiting on you, Ken.
No, I can't remember now.
It's gone. Okay, there we go. All right, then let's move on to another topic here, and name an album cover that you think is cool, but then something in it bothers you. What is it? I want to go first on this. Crazy Nights. I think was absolutely fantastic. But there's just something wrong with the execution. The whole shattered kind of glass thing, and we've seen it done, really should have been done with a makeup cover. So that whole style should have been done earlier on in the band's career than with the unmade up kind of thing, because the kind of focus of the characters on there is overdone. Or maybe I'm just going to the Blue Thong on the black side of that album. That fucks the whole thing up.
And just ruins the whole thing.
Leave that there. Blue Thong.
Mark's searching for his Blue Thong. What are you doing?
Blue Thong ruined the mix, ruined Ron Nevison, ruined the songs, ruined the cover. Yeah, okay. Ken, what about you?
Well, you know what? I just remembered what I was going to say on the prior time.
Oh, please share with us.
Yeah.
Just real quickly, though. When Mark brought up the Say Yeah thing about Sonic Boom, and about, they're going back to their old set. Well, Say Yeah doesn't sound like anything of their old material at all. Nothing. It sounds nothing like their old material. There are other songs on Sonic Boom. Did I say Boom?
Boom.
Anyway, Sonic Boom. That sound more like, their attempt to sound like the older Kiss. But anyway, so I just thought, well, Sonic Boom, they could take that one out and just still put, or not Sonic Boom, but Say Yeah out and put something in Unholy or whatever, Domino. All right. So as for the album itself, that one of the albums that I like a lot is album covers Dynasty. But the thing that bothers me about that, it's always bothered me. I don't know why. But if you look at the picture and you have them in the four there and nice pictures, but then on the Peter Criss, the makeup, the green, it's either his eye is lifted higher, like he was at that moment where he was lifting his eyebrow or something, which expanded the green, and it just looks, it doesn't look symmetrical or whatever to me. And makeup, I'm like, why did they let that thing go through like that? Why did they let that pass? I mean, how many pictures they must have taken? So it's a small thing, but yeah, it just bothers me. And the other thing about it, the backside, when they don't put the songs in the same order of the sequence of the album. Yeah, and that screwed me up, because then I played the other side first. You're
still mad about that.
Still mad about that.
Oh boy. Well, for me, it's very simple actually. One of the album covers that I love, and I'll show you it just so that I can do a proper explanation of it, is I love Dressed to Kill, but I've always hated the fact that why is Gene wearing the only person who doesn't have a black suit on in this picture? And why is it that he has such an ill-fitting suit? He has floods on. Those pants don't even fit properly. And he's wearing clogs. Like, come on, man. Like, how... he looks... It's like, which one of these doesn't belong in the picture? You know? I think it would have been so much cooler if Gene would have worn a black suit, just like everybody else in this picture. But I understand that, he didn't have a suit, so he had to go through, I think it was Bill's closet, and they picked out something for him. That's always bugged me.
So, Mark, the other thing on that cover doesn't bother you? The other little thing on the cover? You know what I'm talking about?
The missing S?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
The missing S.
I'm going there
on one of the KISS logos that go around.
You have to. And
one just says KIS. Yeah. But it doesn't bother me. But I never noticed it until someone brought it up, many years later.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until the Kiss My Wax group. So, obviously not paying attention. But that whole thing, like I was just saying to Lonnie, I'm going there again next week. I've been there, but I got to go there again. I love that cover. And those little quirks that you just mentioned are what makes that cover so cool. And if you think about it, think of the number of times that you ran your hand around the embossing of the vinyl cover because it was cool. And no one ever noticed, or no, I guess we didn't have the benefit of the internet. I bet lots of people did notice that missing S. But I certainly never did. As many times as I caressed that cover gently while perusing the stock of used record stores. So, Lonnie, what about you? What's an album cover that you thought's cool, but I guess something really bothers you about it?
For me, this was really easy. It's the first album cover. I think it's really cool concept. But Peter's makeup always bothered me. When I was a kid, and I was just like, oh, I've never seen his makeup look like that before. That's weird. And then as I was learning more about the band and discovering more old pictures, and I learned the story that, that it's the only time that he let someone else do his makeup. His makeup never really looked like that. So that bothers me to this day, that his makeup is a one-time look on that album. As iconic as that album is, and as iconic as that album cover is, that his makeup looks so different than it ever looked anywhere else. And I think that album could have been even greater had it been the traditional Peter Criss makeup on there and not what we got.
Though there are some photos of him wearing a very different makeup design similar to that from another event, but you'll have to wait and see those when things surface.
Pardon the hell out of me.
Yeah, that was something that I thought was really interesting when I saw that, because again, I had no context. So it's so much easier nowadays, and I guess for the people who were a fan of the band in the 70s, it was kind of word of mouth of, maybe why. I guess people must have asked Peter why he looked so different on that album cover than everything else, but that's just one of those weird things about Kiss. Let's talk about, in conjunction with The Dirt coming out on, what is it, Netflix? Or some other shit that I don't subscribe to. And I also don't want to see Mick Mars portrayed as Quasimodo. In a nutshell, and I think this was your topic, Lonnie. I'm just going to go to the end of it, which was, do you think the Crue outperformed Kiss in 1983 or 2012? Talk about the topic and what you're trying to get to.
So in 2012, I was really excited about them touring and excited about them coming with Motley Crue. I was like, oh, wow, it's two of my favorite bands in one concert, So my brother and I went to the show, and I just actually started dating my wife a few months ago, and she actually went to the show with some of her friends. They came to the shed here in St. Louis, and she went to the show with her friends and sat in the lawn. And then her and I went with some of our other friends to a show in Indianapolis about a week later. We had seats and sat together, the four of us sat together. And I remember telling my friends, oh yeah, it's gonna be great, Motley's gonna be great, but Kiss is gonna be, even better. And I thought, and my brother thought, and my wife thought, and our friends thought that I think Motley outperformed Kiss. I thought Motley stole the show. Motley had, and say what you want, but Motley played more songs that people in the audience knew. They have more radio hits than Kiss does. So just casual rock fans, whether you have every Motley album, you have every Kiss album, or you just have a greatest hits of each of them, more people knew more Motley songs than Kiss songs. And I can remember even getting in my car after the St. Louis show, and like somebody was playing Kiss on their radio loud, as we're leaving, and one lady goes, "Well, why didn't they play that tonight? They didn't play anything tonight that I knew." Like some lady just complaining about the set list. Like, whatever, you're a typical Kiss fan complaining about the set list. But I thought, and all my friends thought, and my brother thought, and everybody thought, on both the shows that I saw, like Kiss they kind of were flat on that. At least the 2 times I saw them, they were just kind of flat on that tour. The stage was no different. Maybe some amplifiers rearranged differently. Oh, it's a new stage. It was a very similar set list to what I'd seen them with the previous year. I saw them in 2011 in Springfield, Illinois. The only song different was War Machine. The rest of them were songs that I saw them play the previous year. Hell or Hallelujah, which is weird too, because they had completed an album back in the spring and just put it on the back burner until after they toured and then release it, which is basically unheard of. You release an album and then you tour. You don't tour and then say, "Oh, here's our new album. Oh, we're done touring." Yeah. So it was a very weird time. So I don't know if you guys saw those shows, what you guys thought. But I think I saw yesterday was the anniversary of that announcement of the Motley and Kiss tour. And I think, and Julian brought up too that, well, it's a good topic for today since, the Dirt's coming out as well. So did you guys see that tour? What did you guys think? Am I on an island on this, or what do you think?
Well, I saw them when they came together in Toronto, and I don't think that you're on an island at all. In fact, I'll go and say that Motley Crue, I think, pretty much destroyed Kiss when I saw them. I mean, it was very interesting because I was sitting in a section right before you go to the lawns. So there's a pathway section behind the seats where I was. And then once you get past that pathway, you go up into the lawn area. And they blocked off a whole bunch of these pathways that you would go and walk to your seats. Mm-hmm. There were guards everywhere because Motley Crue did this introduction where they came out almost like how the Pope came out with this thing, where they were bringing out all this smoke and stuff.
They came out through the crowd, yeah.
Yeah, and they came out and they went on the stage. So that was the first thing where I thought, wow, this is kind of actually really cool. I've never seen something like that or at least I haven't seen a band recently do that. So that was one thing that I thought was really cool. But when they went on stage, a good point that you brought up too, a lot of the song, that whole set list, I knew every single song top to bottom, and the people around me knew every single song. People were singing it around me. It's like people knew the Crue stuff far better than they knew the Kiss stuff, at least this audience that I was with. And it was interesting too that usually the bands before end up having shitty sound, I find, like the opening bands. And this band, this time, they had better sound than Kiss did. I thought that their sound was far louder. They were louder than Kiss. Like, I was like, wow. Like, Mick Mars' guitar was really, really loud. And so was Tommy. And I also had one benefit that other people didn't have during the Motley Crue tour during this time was Vince had busted up his ankle. Remember that? When he had that accident? Mm-hmm. And he wasn't able to do any of his running around. He was pretty much fixated to the stage, and he sang probably the best I've ever heard him sing because he couldn't do anything except sing. So he just focused on his singing the whole night. It was just Nicky running around everywhere, but it was his best vocal performance I've heard. I mean, we all know how great he sings live. It's not good at all, but that was probably one of the best times I've heard him sing because he had to just focus on singing the whole time. Otherwise he couldn't do anything, right? But it was far better. Even the stage I thought was interesting. They had like these kind of interesting looked like industrial fans on the stage. They had like some kind of like a odd industrial look on stage, but it was really, really good. I thought it was far better than Kiss came out. And I mean, And I was sorry to say it too, because I was like you guys. I was like, don't worry, Kiss is going to come out and it's going to be even better.
Right.
And I was kind of like, this is not anywhere near. Like the energy level was nowhere near as good. Like it looked like Motley was out for blood when they came out. You know, they were trying to prove that they were the ones that you should be coming to see, not Kiss. You know.
Repeat of 1983 in some ways, you know, when they were a young and hungry band that Ken saw. I'm going to make you go last, Ken, because obviously you saw them in 83 and you saw them in 2012, didn't you? So,
Yes.
you know, you've just got those experiences that aren't present for the rest of this panel. I agree. Without a doubt. Motley Crue blew Kiss off the fucking stage. They also had that big timepiece in the background. They started the show, so they got the pomp and circumstance of marching out with those people who were holding the banners, the procession at the beginning of the show. So they got all the theatrics going as the opening act in that show. And then every single song that they played were the big Motley Crue songs that you'd have to have missed the 1980s to not recognize. Their stage performance was dynamic, and I saw them in Concord. It was just a fantastic show, and it wasn't the first time I'd seen the Crue. Fortunately, I've seen them plenty of times over the years, but it was the best performance that I had seen of the Crue since 99, which, you know, for me, as a Crue fan, again, I've told the story that day in 1985 that I went down and bought Asylum. I also bought Theater of Pain. So both of these bands are tied together. But I came out of that show going, wow, Kiss had nothing. Kiss didn't even have the energy, the tempo, the fire, or the stage presentation. What Motley Crue did with their opening slots, with like these gigantic clock countdown thing at the beginning, and just their whole stage arrangement and how they utilized what they had, was far superior to what Kiss had. And then Kiss played 13 songs.
Right.
And I was just like, what the fuck? A Kiss show? And that's why I skipped Def Leppard. Because I couldn't stomach going to see two bands that I absolutely adore. And Def Leppard's I like more than Motley Crue. I couldn't stand to see that again after, you know, having also seen the Aerosmith thing. You know, so all these big co-headlining bullshit arrangements, forget it. You know, it was just, I didn't ever want to see it again. So, yeah, I was stunned. And, you know, Vince was passable in Concord for me. Certainly, yeah, well, he was pretty much Vince. But, you know, when I go to a Crue concert, I don't watch Vince. I watch Mick. That's the only thing I care about at a Motley Crue concert. Nikki Sixx, fuck off. Mick is badass. And I just love watching him play. I'm just focused on guitar. That is, to me, what Motley Crue is. And after that, Kiss comes on, and it was just, like, it was almost pedestrian. But then again, I haven't seen as many Crue shows as I have Kiss shows, and all the bootlegs I've collected in between. I don't have that kind of oversaturation, so I'm being very unfair to Kiss in this. But performance-wise, there was nothing. Now, Ken, Voice of Sanity.
Voice of Sanity. Yeah, so the deal is, I saw that same show as you did in Concord. I do agree that Motley Crue had a better presentation coming out their stage. They even had dancing girls on the stage and so on, right? They had a better stage performance show. Music-wise, I don't know. Yeah, they were pretty good. Not, I wouldn't say a lot better, or it's more even with Kiss. The deal is, Kiss, I believe, from probably around 2010 through Monster, at least, or maybe all the way up to Def Leppard, those tours, they're just on cruise control. They're just touring, and they're on cruise control and just trying to make a buck, I think. and that they didn't have any drive to try to create a better stage or show or anything. So yeah, it was kind of disappointing through those years for me. It's like I was expecting this big spectacle thing. It's like I used to do it, and it's like, come on, I know you can do better than that, you know. And you say you're going to give me a new stage, and you don't give me a new stage. You know, don't say it's a new stage, and then give me last year's stage, you know, or the last few years. So that's the deal with that. Now, going back to '83 with Motley Crue and Kiss, yeah, Motley Crue was on fire back then, and they gave the 3 shows I saw with them opening, they really gave Kiss a run for their money. I mean, it was a great show, you know, that they did. But I'm sorry, on that one, Kiss still, you know, blew them off the stage. Even as good as Motley Crue was, as they're hungry, you know, how they were as a new band, Kiss was hungry again. They just wanted to take no prisoners on that tour, coming back with Creatures of the Night. I'm sorry, I don't think any band that year could have outdone Kiss. I can't see any band. I mean, they were on fire. They were playing great. They were the energy, running and jumping, moving around the stage, and of course, the stage itself, you know, the tank stage. They had something new that no one expected that we were going to get. And it was cool, very cool, and it worked. So, yeah, it was, you know, Motley Crue did great there. But it still, Kiss was better.
I forget that you saw 3 Creature shows. I'm so freaking jealous.
I know. I just wanted to inject that so he could talk about it again. Because, you know, it's nice to live vicariously through those who actually went to those shows. Well, I will say that Kiss did beat Motley Crue in 2012 with the songs. Hell or Hallelujah versus Sex. Hell or Hallelujah. By a country mile.
The other thing I was going to say, you know, about the fans or the fair weather people, whoever were there at those shows, the monster shows. Yeah, I mean, Motley Crue songs were played on MTV during the 80s a lot, 80s up to the 90s, you know, early around 90. So they were out there, and they did have the hits, so people knew those. Some of these fair weather fans, they're not gonna. Kiss didn't get played hardly on there. I mean, yeah, Heaven's on Fire. I do know that one, or maybe look it up, or one of these other ones, or Forever. Though I don't think they played Forever on that show anyway. They probably should have, actually, thinking about it. But yeah, they weren't there. So, and Kiss was never played on the radio in the first place back then. They hardly played Kiss on the radio. Radio stations hated Kiss, you know. So it's different, I guess, for the concert goer. That's a random thing. Okay, I'd never seen Kiss or Motley Crue. Let's go check them out. And then they recognize the Motley Crue songs because, you know, Home Sweet Home and whatever, Girls, 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 and so on. But then Kiss is like, you know, they play something from, you know, Asylum, or I don't pick an Asylum, but, you know, they just like, I never heard that, you know, what's that?
Yes, my one regret from that is I taped that show, and I snuck in my gigantic recorder, and I misset the mics, set them at 100%.
Ooh.
So I have just one red line of static basically for both sets. I mean, I had the whole I had the treatment as well. Got it all unlistenable. I mean, that just fucking, you know, considering how much I enjoyed it. That's a lot of people who've seen the photos that I've shared of someone actually holding up like a rifle cutout. Mm-hmm. Someone did actually bring a love gun to the Concord show.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, you know, and you actually see it waving in the confetti, and you know, people are always like, "What the fuck is that?" That's not a. Yeah, it was at a show, but it was a cardboard cutout, not a real rifle, obviously. But
yeah,
you know, Love gun. There you go. All right, we had one more, but, we're over an hour here, and I'd rather do this last one that we had when we can get Daniel on the show. Daniel, Mark, Lonnie, and me, because it's a good non-originals era kind of question. And Ken, you're too legit to be asked.
I'm sorry.
You're too legit for this show.
Yeah. So there we are. There's a whole bunch of topics. Chime in on any one of these individual things. Get on over to the KissFAQ message board. Do sign up and join. You don't have to participate. There's a lot of forums there that you can't see as a guest lurker. You only see one. There's Song of the Moment, which I'm actually doing demos for discussion at the moment, and there's also Kiss Historical Documents, which it's not getting as much. It's not getting as much discussion as I'd hoped, because there's a lot of shit in there that I would have thought people would be kind of like blown away by. But I'm going to keep going with that. I've got a few thousand more to actually
Please do.
To sort out and upload. I got to be careful as I go through my documents and redact certain things on some documents, and there's others that I can't put up. But there's a lot of really, really interesting things.
I thought I saw your tax returns in there too.
No, God, no. Those are Donnie T's. So, there's a lot over there. But, come over to the board and comment on the show that we've done today on the topics, or comment on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're most comfortable. It doesn't ultimately matter where you comment, but we do want to hear your opinions about the topics that we discussed. Do you agree? What are your choices? Were we wrong? Was I wrong again? Did I fuck up? Did I say something wrong? Let me know. We're always interested in conversations with people who do take the time to listen to our show, and we appreciate you very much. All right, so for now, from Ken, from Lonnie, from Mark, and myself, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. So take care. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.